Hello everybody, happy Tuesday, hope you're doing very, very well. I've only just got in really from going to the football. It was the FA Cup third round match between Huddersfield Town and Manchester City. It finished 5-0 to Manchester City. Surprise, surprise, they are better than teams struggling in the Championship. It's the first time I ever went to watch a match played at the stadium. Of course, I did the stadium tour a couple of months back, so it was good to see it from that perspective. I sat in the away end, and you hear about all these stories about Manchester City atmosphere being a bit sort of lackluster and boring. Well, from my point of view, unfortunately, they seem to be true. It was really quiet for most of the game. The loudest cheers were when De Bruyne started warming up, and then also when he came on, which I understand. It's a return of one of their most important players, but that was louder than any of the goals, and they scored a few that were scored by people actually on the pitch. So, a little bit strange, but, you know, it is Manchester City. However, I do have a shirt to show you, of course, because that's what we are here for, and it's one that I've had for a while, but it is a brand new country, and that's always exciting because, yes, we still have quite a lot to go, but we are slowly counting down, and it's one from Europe. We don't have too many left from Europe to get, so it's going to be somewhere pretty cool in more ways than one. So let's get it open, and hopefully it is the one that I am expecting, because I don't really know what else to do if it's not. Woo. Looks good to me. I presume there's nothing in there of any use. That's always useful when that happens. Now then. Right then, if we can get this into the shot. It is a blue shirt. It's always a good start when you're a Chelsea fan. But it does have these white trims running down the sides there. Now, is there anything on the back of the neck? No, it is purely just a blue sort of design. I'll admit, now I know somebody who also got this. A few people have grabbed this, and they opened theirs like any normal person would when they received their shirt. They said that the material would feel different and interesting and weird. It definitely does. I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest. It feels almost like paper. I feel like I could quite easily, and I'm not the strongest person in the world, just if I just pulled this, it would just tear. Interesting. Okay then. Anyway. Enough about that, but it sounds so weird as well. This is the front of the shirt, so we don't need to worry about that. There we go. So it's a Puma manufactured shirt, and it is this team here. Now, you may not necessarily recognize it from the crest if you can't read it, of course, but when I start speaking about it, you may go, oh, it's them. Because they've had a little bit of publicity over the last sort of 3 or 4 months. Now we also have a sponsor on the sleeve there, and you may have clocked, we do have some patches. Now, it's not too often that I opt for patches unless it's a league patch usually from Italy, but we've gone for a UEFA Europa League, not Europa League, a UEFA Conference League patch going on there. I wonder what that could be. So, let me dress the mannequin, and I'll explain to you a little bit about this team. Before I dress the mannequin, I realised that it's kind of stuck together on the inside. I don't know if you can hear this, but it's like stuck together. It's just kind of fused to the, I don't know, just the sponsors or the design. I think that's everything sort of separated now. I can actually, yeah, there we go. Okay then, so there's a shirt. A little bit weird, wasn't it, when it was all stuck together? It just shows you what can happen when you store your shirts away. They can kind of stick to sponsors and whatnot. Luckily, it's all in the inside, so even if something did go a bit weird, you wouldn't really see it. Anyway, who is the team? Well done to anybody who actually got it. Unless you've actually got this shirt, then that's cheating. The team is Klaksvik IFK. Yes. Do you recognise that one? Possibly. And it's their home shirt from 2023, but it's the UEFA Conference League version. It's the same. I think possibly you might have changed the sponsors because sometimes that's what happened, or they might have applied a sponsor, but it has the patches on there. Now, I bought this one directly from the club store, and it cost me 63 Danish kroner, which is about £73. So when you throw on some shipping, It was about £90, so it's not a cheap one. Though looking at the website now, the price has gone up to 799 Danish kroner, and they only have extra small and small available. So there's not many, and the prices have increased. So that's interesting. Anyway, I made this purchase in August, and it arrived, I think probably October, but it possibly could be November. So it took a little bit of time to arrive. It's so much so that I don't remember getting too many sort of emails initially to say that things were happening. It wasn't until like 2 months later you got some emails in your junk folder saying it's on the way. I'm like, oh, okay, at least it's happening, sort of thing. Now, this club is from Klaksvik, which is the second largest town on the Faroe Islands. Yes, for the benefit of FIFA, they are classed as their own entity, their own country, shall we say. But in reality, they are just sort of a autonomous region of the Kingdom of Denmark. Yes, so they've got their own sort of stuff going on, but officially they are still technically part of Denmark. But for football in FIFA, well, I'm going to go with Faroe Islands as a brand new entity. Now, I had very little opportunities to buy anything from this country, specifically shirts that are brand new with tags anyway. There was one other team, which was something like, is it B36 Torshaven, something like that. But I didn't buy it. Again, I'd have to buy it from a club store. I think maybe it was something to do with the shipping that was a bit weird. So not often do I get a chance. So to do so and spend a little extra money, you know, why not? I've done it now. I don't have to necessarily worry about it too much. So yes, the club was founded in 1904, so it's quite an older one. It's probably more to do with possibly the handball or something else that, you know, they're part of the overall club. But 1904 is an old club, that's what it is. And they play in the Faroese Premier League, so the top division there. Now, the season is currently off because, well, it does get quite cold at the Faroe Islands, or should I say, it doesn't get very warm. Think of the UK, but make it worse, if you can imagine that as well. So yeah, that's what it's kind of like. So their season begins in March, so they've got a few more sort of months or weeks to go until they can begin playing competitive football. Now, last season, the one that finished, they finished top of the league. So yes, well done to them. They are the champions. The season before that, they won the league. In fact, they won every game apart from 2, which they drew, which suggests that they are probably one of those leagues that is just seem to steamroll. Though they've not won it all the time. In fact, historically, they aren't the most successful team. They are in second place. They need to get a number of more league titles to jump up to first. So I think at some stage, possibly, if they continue, they will do. But right now, they are still not necessarily the best team in Faroese history. Now, it is the European competition, though. That is what has made this club stand out and probably what jumped on everybody's radar. For those of you who have already seen them, heard of them, it is because of their European escapades. So in Faroe Islands, I think if you finish top, you get an opportunity to join in the Champions League first round, I think it is, and you've got to progress your way through. I think they got to the third round qualifying, which meant effectively they were already going to be in a group stage, because you can drop down to the Europa League, and then you can drop down to Conference League, and you're going to be there eventually. So they didn't make the Champions League, because you certainly would have heard about that. They didn't quite get the Europa League, but they made the group stage of the Conference League. Yes, it's the Conference League, but it's still a European competition, and it's better than Chelsea performed, so that's something there. And now, of course, they are the first Faroese team to ever reach the sort of the competition proper. So they were in Group A, and they had in their group Lille, Slovan Bratislava, and Olympia Ljubljana. So that's not an easy group there. Specifically, some teams in there we're all very familiar with. Now, they finished last. Okay, so no one's not surprised, but they did get a victory. So they got a notable victory. I think it was against Ljubljana. So they were able to do that. Who knows what can happen next season? They may be able to, if not get into a better competition, they might be able to push through out of the group stage. So it's always going to be difficult for these smaller nations, but it's always nice to hear every now and then that they can at least do it. And the Conference League is a great competition for those minnow leagues. Now, the shirt is manufactured by Puma. I think we've definitely outlined that, and they're using the Team Cup 23 template. Now, it's one that I've seen before when I've just been doing some sort of research, and it's got quite an interesting design. It's almost, it is Puma. It almost looks like it's sort of, I don't know, Meccano or something, like it's a blueprint. I don't really know actually what it stands for, if anything, but I think it's quite cool. It's better than it just being blank. Like if that was just a pure blue shirt, I'd be thinking, I don't know, is it too much? But I suppose it's one of those things. Like I said, the shirt feels nothing like I've ever had of any shirts that I've got. It almost feels like a raincoat. It almost feels like it's waterproof. If I would wear that outside of the rain, I'd probably be okay. But I don't know. So I was a bit scared just put on the mannequin. One side separated it. But yeah, apparently it is the player version. So this is what the players would have been running around on the pitch. Which is, I appreciate that because it wasn't cheap. So at least I've been able to get the pro version of the shirt there. Now, of course it's blue. That always helps as a Chelsea fan. And that puts me now onto 46 European FIFA registered countries. So obviously not every, how FIFA runs. They have countries from certain parts of the world that are not necessarily European, but they play there for whatever reason it is. And they have nations that aren't necessarily nations, but in football they are. When it comes to the countries that I still need, so if anybody is from these places or have shirts or something, let me know, because that'd be a great help. So I need Andorra, which I think I've seen stuff before buying from club. Is it Santa Colima, the main one? I could technically get FC Andorra, the one that PK owns, that play in Spain, because they are from Andorra. But I think that might be cheating a little bit, but I suppose who cares? They are from Andorra. Next is Georgia. Really not seeing anything from there at all. I mean, they are quite a far distance, can't get much further away in Georgia for Europe. Never had any luck for that one whatsoever. And we had Kazakhstan. Again, I was speaking to Macron, the actual Macron retailer for Kazakhstan, and we got speaking. It took a long time to get back and forth. They were going to give me a shirt, like just send me one. They had the photographs and everything. I give them my address, and they just stopped replying. And I kept chasing them up, saying any news, and they wouldn't respond. They wouldn't even read my messages. So I think they just blocked me. And I'm like, guys, literally it was like 12 months of that and for nothing. So I was so close to getting something so difficult, because after that I've never seen anything there. Now we have Kosovo. I've seen a few of Kosovan shirts, mainly in classic football shirts, but they've never had tags. So I could have been able to pick up something quite easily and quite cheaply, but it just didn't have the tags. So maybe one day they might do that. I think there are some teams that are manufactured by Macron there, but not had any luck with that. Then we have Liechtenstein, another small nation. This one couldn't be that difficult, actually, other than price, because they, of course, play in Swiss football. I think Vaduz either generally play in the top division or second division, and I have my friend in Switzerland, and I think the club does only ship within Liechtenstein and Switzerland, so I'd have to get it shipped to him and then he'd ship it to me, and it's obviously not cheap buying from those countries anyway, so it would end up going over £100 for the shirt. I think they're also with Puma, and the shirt designs aren't amazing, but that's doable. Moldova is a country that, again, I saw on Classic Football shirts once with one team, but they didn't have tags also, and it was really cheap. It was like £17. I thought that would be perfect. I could take that one off. But again, other than that, never seen anything at all. And then the final one is San Marino, probably unsurprising. I think I've seen chances to buy them, but I actually saw a video of some guy on TikTok who was just doing some ground hopping, and he ended up in San Marino, and apparently the games are free, but he wasn't able to buy a shirt at the match. I'm thinking, if you can't buy a shirt at a match, then how am I going to get a shirt any other time? So again, I'd never seen any of them ever at all, so that would be quite a cool one to get. But that's it. There's a country I technically haven't shown you yet that I have got, but I haven't opened the parcels yet, so I won't spoil it. And the only other one is England, I suppose. If needs be, I'll just get a Chelsea shirt, I suppose, if I really want to be that sort of specific about it. But there we go. So that is a shirt. I know a few of you have grabbed it. I think you probably all have the same review. Interesting material, but it's cool to have a country that is a little bit obscure, and cool to have a club that usually probably wouldn't find themselves in the collections of many people. On Friday, I think the shirt I'm going to show you is it's a club I've never heard of before, and when I was doing the research, I was still thinking, I don't really know quite what's going on here, but it was an interesting one to buy, particularly because it was rather cheap. So that's it, really. I hope you have a great week back. It's my first full week back at work, It's going to be a long one, I suspect. So yes, I'll see you on Friday for some more football shirts. Thank you for watching as always. Goodbye.